Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the City of Menasha Administration Committee meeting to order. Could we have the roll call, please?
Alderman Keehan. Alderman Zielinski. Alderman Spencer. Alderman Benner. Alderman Nichols.
Here.
Alderman Krautkramer. Alderman Collier. Alderman Taylor has been excused.
Thank you. The first item of business this evening is to approve the Administration Committee meeting minutes from August 1st, 2016. Do we have a motion? Alderman Keehan?
Thank you. I'll move to approve the minutes from the Administration Committee meeting of 8/1/16.
And do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or discussions about the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Minutes are approved. The first action item this evening is to review and accept the 2015 City of Menasha audit. And Dave Mako from Schenck is here to review the audit with us today. And I'm sorry, I should probably allow Director Steno to add anything that she would like as well.
Oh, I think we can let Dave go ahead and tell us what he thinks of the audit.
Great, thank you.
Okay. So you should have two documents. One is the annual financial report, and the second is a management communication. So I'll briefly go through some of the annual financial report, but as in the past, we've summarized what we consider some of the key financial information in our management communication. So certainly if you have any questions as I go through anything, feel free to ask me and we can answer that at that point in time. So if we go to the annual financial report, if we turn to pages 1 and 2, pages 1 and 2 represent our independent auditor's report that we are presenting to the city. It talks about the financial statements. This is a report on the financial statements of the city. Management is responsible for the financial statements. What that means is it comes directly from the financial records that you maintain throughout the year. So we take the information that you prepare and account for the activities and audit it. Our responsibility is to express an opinions on the financial statements. If you look at the bottom of page 1, we do express what we call an unmodified opinion. It means we would make no modifications to the report you have in front of you. So it is a clean opinion on the financial report of the City of Menasha. If we turn to page 2, I just want to point out that because you follow government accounting standards, periodically there are new standards to apply. That is the case in this year. It relates to pension and your investment in the Wisconsin retirement system. So we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the financial statements. If you turn to pages 3 through page 9 of the document, this is management's discussion and analysis. So it's an opportunity to go through some of the most significant things that happened in the city in 2015 with a comparison to the prior years. So it is required to contain certain documents, and it does contain all the required communications within that management discussion. So I'd encourage the council to review it and kind of gives you an overview of what happened in 2015. Then I just want to briefly talk on pages 10, 11, and 12. These are your government-wide financial statements. So it's not how you adopt your budget, but it's a reflection of the city's overall financial position. So if you look at your total assets, it's in the middle of the page. Your total assets are almost $133 million under the control of the city. Now, many of these assets are embedded within the infrastructure providing services to the city of Menasha residents, whether it be your utility operations, whether it be the roads or bridges or the building we're in. But it reflects kind of the assets that you're managing as a city and have control over. Now, if you look in the middle of those sections, you'll see a category called net pension asset. This is new, and this is the new standard that I was talking about. What that really reflects is that the Wisconsin retirement system, as a retirement system, has more assets than liabilities at the end of 2014. So there's a little bit of a lag in the reporting of that. The state has not released a 2015 actuarial study yet, but what that reflects is that the city's retirement system is well funded. It means that the Wisconsin retirement system is well managed, that the pension benefits that you're providing to the citizen or to your employees there are resources within the retirement system to make those future payments. Now, that's significant in essence because there's only 2 states out of the 50 states that are fully funded at this point in time. So it's a real reflection of the Wisconsin retirement system and the pension plan that you provide to your employees. Total liabilities are about $70 million. These are long-term debt obligations, employee benefit obligations, current liabilities to vendors, etc. There's a deferred inflows. That's really next year's tax levy. And then your net position. It shows that your net position is currently about $53.4 million. Now, if you turn to pages 11 and 12, you can see the reflection. If you look at the middle of page 11 through page 12, you can see that category called change in net position. What that represents is an increase in your overall ownership as you reinvested back into the infrastructure, as you reinvested back into the community, and as you generated revenues to pay for those reinvestments. So very positive when you show positive growth in your net position. Then starting on page 13, now we get into your fund financials on how you adopt your annual budget. And here's where we pull some of the data out of this report and into our management communications so we can give you a 2-year comparison just so you can see how 2015 ended and how it compared to the prior year. With that, does anyone have any questions on the annual financial report before we switch to the second document? Okay. Sounds good. Well, the second document is really our summation of some of the activities and our communications to the city of Menasha. It starts on a 4-page introduction that talks a little bit about our responsibilities, talks a little bit about internal controls. So because you are a governmental entity, we are required to review your internal controls under governmentally accounting or auditing standards. So it's a little bit more stringent standards than a regular corporation undergoes. We did not identify any deficiencies which we consider material weaknesses, which is a very positive statement on the controls within the city. We do have one item that we call a significant deficiency. It really relates to the fact that we prepare the financial report, and it's not a reflection on the city or your records. It's just a mere fact that we're preparing the financial report. So we do over 400 municipal audits, and probably about 350 have that same comment. So it's really a standard comment. The rest talks about some of the accounting practices and the fact that if we look at page 3, if you go through the various different items there, you'll see that we had no difficulties in completing the audit. The audit from our perspective went very well. We do work with a lot of different departments and employees within the city in completing this audit. And just want to congratulate the city and appreciate the support that we did receive in completing your audit. So it went very well from our perspective. Then if we turn to page 5, page 5 starts some of the financial comments that we have. You can see that we focus on your fund balances. In your governmental funds, fund balance is a source of funding. It's a representative of the overall liquidity of your operations. You can see your general fund did decrease approximately $62,000, and so very strong position, very good position. You had a very good budget year. You had actually projected to decrease a little bit greater than that. You can see that there's various different categories within your fund balance, and so your unassigned is currently about $1.2 million, which is really reflective of the uncommitted funds at this point in time. Your special revenue funds consist of a lot of different funds. You can see the various different categories. No significant items there, nothing unusual. Debt service is restricted for future debt payments. And then if we turn to page 6, capital project funds are really as you implement capital improvement plans within the city, or in your case, many of the capital improvement or capital project funds are actually your TIP districts. Some of those districts are in positive positions, some of those districts are in negative as you've incurred and are waiting for some revenues to cover those expenditures. So overall, you can see your fund balances within your governmental funds stands very comparable to the prior year. Any questions on that? Now, if we turn to page 7, you can see that your debt position, you currently have general obligation debt of about $35 million compared to your statutory limit of $50,500,000. Gives you a debt capacity or legal margin for new debt of a little under $17 million at this point in time. So slowly the position of your debt is giving you some additional legal margin for debt service. So as you pay down debt. A lot of that debt is really related to TIF districts that have been created. So if we turn to page 8, you can see that the net unreimbursed project costs in relationship to the outstanding long-term debt of the districts. So you can kind of see the correlation that exists there as you look at the long-term obligations going forward. Starting with any questions on any of the governmental funds before we kind of switch to some of your internal service funds. Okay. Then page 8 and 9 really focus on your internal service funds. These funds really are designed to recover costs and charge various different funds. The first one is your city garage. It is used to ensure that your equipment is maintained and ensure that you have sufficient equipment there. You can see that overall a very consistent year, and as far as revenues, expenses came down slightly due to depreciation. And if you look in the bottom of page 8, you can see that you had reinvested capital assets of about $450,000 during the year. So you use this fund to keep your fleet that you use to provide services throughout the city. Then if we turn to page 9, you have 2 internal service funds related to insurance type programs, whether it be liability and dental. No concerns in either of those funds from our perspective. So once again, they are working as designed for internal service funds. Then if we start on page 10 and 11, we have one comment on our observations related to some of the receipting. As I indicated before, we do look at and work with various different departments. When we were at the city garage, we're just recommending more frequent deposits of some of the funds. Our testing indicated everything was deposited. We just like to see funds being deposited a little bit more timely. And then comment 2 and 3 really relate to informational comments, talking a little bit about new standards that are out there, which is comment 2, and comment 3 just talks a little bit about HIPAA and ensuring HIPAA compliance. So those are more informational type comments. And with that, I'll entertain any questions anyone may have.
All right, well, thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Mako, for being
Thanks.
here this evening. Appreciate it. And we'll entertain a motion then to accept the 2015 City of Menasha audit. And this is just a motion to accept. It does not get forwarded to council. We simply accept it here in committee. Alderman Benner?
Thank you, Chairman. At this time, I make a motion to receive and accept the 2015 City of Menasha audit as presented by Shank.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
And the second item of business this evening is Ordinance 1016, an ordinance amending Title VII, Chapter 6 of the Code of Ordinances relating to restaurant and retail food establishments. And this is being introduced by Mayor Merkus, and Attorney Captain has agreed to introduce this to the committee, and this is an item that would then be forwarded to council.
Thank you. This particular chapter is recommended for updating. The Health Department sanitarian approached me and gave me some suggested changes due to renumbering of the Wisconsin Administrative Code. Some of the sections have been changed from what they used to be called, so that's what a lot of it is. I think there were some other updates. The version that the sanitarian was using, you had a few changes here and there and language changes to update it. And I believe that when we look at, there was one other place, license revocation, which is paragraph number 6, provides for a hearing if someone wants to challenge a revocation, and if it's the health officer who's issuing it or somebody who's designated by the health officer to issue the license and revoke it, then it really should be the Menasha Board of Health that's where appeals should be taken. So there was a change that was recommended to be made to that as well. And I think that is about it.
So this is mostly changes to align ourselves with state statute?
The Wisconsin Administrative Code, there were also some changes. I believe there was some statutory references that didn't make any sense, and so we changed those and modified them so that I don't know if the statutes were renumbered or whatever, but periodically that does occur, and so we made those changes as well.
Okay, thank you. We'll entertain a motion, and then we can open the floor for discussion. Alderman Keehan?
Thank you. I'll move to forward to council 010-16, an ordinance amending Title 7, Chapter 6 of Code of Ordinances, Restaurant, Retail, Food Establishments, introduced by the mayor.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
And with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Alderman Keehan?
Thank you. I'll move to adjourn.
And do we have a second? We have a second from Alderman Spencer. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. We are adjourned.